The Magic Show is brought to you by StarCityGames.com, and check this out. StarCityGames.com is carrying the hottest new Magic the Gathering products for pre-order. This includes Arch Enemy, Duels of the Planeswalker decks, and Magic 2011, now confirmed to have Baneslayer Angel and Lightning Bolt. Pick up your M11 boxes, Fat Packs, and Intro Packs at the biggest and best Magic retailer on the planet, StarCityGames.com.
My name's Tom Lafeli, I'm a Magic developer, and I have the best job in the world. And welcome to the Magic Show.
Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of The Magic Show. And boy do I have a show for you. This week we've got a jaw-dropping preview from M11 along with a new Legacy banlist update and the biggest shakeup of Extended in years. You ready to dive in? Let's go! So there I was last Friday afternoon when a little spoiler showed up. My spoiler for M11. I noticed immediately it was mythic, it was blue, the best color in Magic. Then I saw it had a kick-ass name, Time Reversal. 2 blue and 3 colorless mana. A sorcery. A 5 mana mythic rare blue sorcery. It must do something insane. And then I saw what it does. What? No way. Let me get this straight. Time Twister. They have reprinted Time freaking Twister for 5 mana. Oh my god, are you kidding me? What? A draw 7 in Standard for a very affordable 5 mana? Do you know how many draw 7s exist in Magic, period? Give or take, less than half a dozen. And why are they so rare? Because drawing 7 cards can be incredibly devastating. Let's break it down. This card does the same thing as Time Spiral for 1 less mana and without the untap clause. This card costs the same as Tidings, yet gives you 7 cards, a 3-card bonus, but at the cost of trading in your hand and giving your opponent a new hand as well. What makes this card insane? Trading your cards in hand for board position. Look at the new Mana War, Aether Adept. This guy, along with the unsummoning power of Jace the Mind Sculptor, as if that card needed any more reasons to be fantastic, gives you the ability to solve any onboard creature problem by simply bouncing it and shuffling it away. Remember, this is a memory jar that isn't an artifact and must be used immediately but still performs the same function. This card enters the metagame like an atom bomb, rocking out with Time Warp and M10 until the rotation this fall. Now you can see plenty of decks like Super Friends that included Time Warp just because it's good. They don't try or reach to make it awesome, but when you do try to abuse it in decks like Open the Vaults and Turboland, holy crap is it spectacular and is exactly how I feel about this card. With a little effort, it is bananas. I feel like this card is one of those incredibly rare gems that make players of all types happy. Spike loves what it can do in Turboland. Johnny loves the massive combo potential of drawing 7 fresh cards, and Timmy loves it because it's a huge splashy effect perfect for kitchen tables and EDH games of all sorts. I gotta tell you, the more I look at this card, the more I like it. Could it impact every format? At this point I'm willing to err on the side of hell yes it will. Just like Time Walk at 5 mana is playable, here comes a 5 mana Time Twister ready to throw you for a loop. I mean, look at this awesome threesome. In Alpha you had Ancestral Recall, Time Walk, and Time Twister. Now we have Jace's Ingenuity, Time Warp, and Time Reversal all together in Standard for 3 months. While I wouldn't count on Time Warp being back in M11, having both of these incredibly powerful blue cards in the same environment will be very exciting, and I can't wait to see what crazy decks pop up thanks to it. I, for one, am completely blown away by this card. Even silly combos like playing Time Reversal with 3 red mana open allows you to triple Rune Flare Trap for 21 damage. You see how easy it is to do silly things by drawing 7 cards? I think this card not only has huge potential, but should make a huge and powerful impact on your Standard, Extended, and perhaps even Legacy metagame soon. It's not every day we get a Power 9 functional reprint, particularly for just a blue and a colorless more, and it's time to see what deck builders can do with this instant chase mythic. I'd get yours quickly because it won't take long to break its symmetrical effect. Speaking of chase mythics, have you seen the release foil Sun Titan? Love this guy. Here's where the alarm bells start going off. He says target permanent of converted mana cost 3 or less, while the most powerful phrase in this card is actually, quote, or attacks. Yes, every single turn you can return Jace Beleren, Oblivion Ring, fetch lands to work with your Lotus Cobra, Knight of the Reliquary to beat down, Castali Pride Mage to solve disenchantable problems. The list goes on and on. That, and he's a huge beat stick as a 6/6 for 6 mana who has an awesome enter the battlefield effect. While the release foil, Ancient Hellkite, is a killer limited bomb and one bad badass looking dragon and all, the real winner of the two is Sun Titan. This guy will make a lot of main decks in the coming months, and we'll see just how unfair he can get, as every single turn he shows you the real definition of card advantage. Looking at M11 in general, I really love how the Planeswalker names are reaching themselves down rarities. They originally overdid this with the Weatherlight Saga with 1,000,000 cards that referenced a dozen characters. Now we have badass Planeswalkers such as Garruk Wildspeaker, and he has a badass 2-mana 3/2 Trampling Companion. Now that's a 2-drop. While Goblin Death Raiders showed that a 2-mana 3-power creature with trample wasn't overpowered by any means, this time it's in the right color. It's a lot easier to cast and could do some scary things with 3-mana auras such as my Rise the Eldrazi preview, Boar Umbra. Turn 3, you've got a 5/4 Trampler with Totem Armor. Must be, right? I mentioned it earlier, but you better get used to seeing Jace's Ingenuity, because it's going to be everywhere. Like the Mysteries of the Deep we really wanted, Jace's Ingenuity is here to give you an awesome draw spell that you can bust out with a Lotus Cobra on turn 3 using a fetch land, or counter things all day long and bust it out on their end step. This is the most significant and powerful card draw provided in some time, quite a jump from Divination, and I'm excited to sling with it myself. Another card I'm fond of is Reassembling Skeleton. Yeah, it's a decent limited card and all, and probably won't make much of a constructed splash, but how does this not earn the nickname Dry Bones? Just perfect for it, isn't it? All I can see are those bones falling apart and coming together when I activate this guy. Too cool. All I know is M11 is looking like a powerhouse so far. I don't know about you, but I love the return of Scry, where Sage Owl finally gets an upgrade to Augury Owl. Preordain is actually a really powerful draw spell in formats new and old, and even little changes like Harbor Serpent. Several years ago, this creature would require your opponents to control an island for it to attack. Now it just needs 5 or more islands on the battlefield, period, regardless as to whether they're your islands or an opponent's islands. This to me is a much cleaner, clearer, and more efficient design. There are other M11 spoilers bursting forth throughout the web, and you can be sure to find them on our Facebook page or here on the show next week. Until then, how about that time reversal? Just when you thought time reversal was a surprise, Wizards really threw the Magic playing world for a loop last Friday. On that day, they released 2 new pieces of information. The first consisted of legacy bannings and unbannings, which we'll get out of the way. This included the banning of Mystical Tutor, which drove the 2 most powerful decks in the environment, Reanimator and Ad Nauseam Tendrils. With this card gone, those decks' matchups got worse as consistency was lessened, and hopefully this will reduce the turn 2 or even turn 1 win scenarios that could happen thanks to a single blue mana finding any instant or sorcery you want. Secondly, the unbanned Illusionary Mask, which while it can chief Phyrexian Dreadnought into play, that trigger can safely be stifled, so why not just do that instead of the 2-card Mondo combo? The unbanned list now includes Grim Monolith, a card that is somehow now regarded as fair, where fair is defined as getting 4 colorless mana for a mere 2 colorless mana with no drawback ever. So suddenly a $5 rare went to $40 overnight, and those missing Mystical Tutor quickly snapped up all of the personal tutors from Portal, but it's unable to find Ad Nauseam, Force of Will, Entomb, or any other number of powerful instants, so while it looks like a good investment, I'm not sure the personal tutor route's going to work out. But all of this wasn't anywhere close to what happened to Extended. Talk about your metagames being destroyed and rebuilt. Extended is a whole new ballgame. Being called double standard by many, Extended is now a mere 2 more years of sets than Standard, making it a very large standard environment and getting rid of a lot of cruft. Let's take a look. Extended used to be 7 years worth of sets. That meant it stretched all the way back to Mirrodin, which was planning on rotating this fall. This meant that if you went from Standard to Extended, you had a whole host of decks, strategies, and thousands of cards to deal with that you weren't used to. This, along with an insipid metagame, which by the end of last season was almost exclusively Dark Depths and Thopter Foundry, made players not want to play it. Now Extended will be 4 years of sets, meaning we lose everything from Mirrodin all the way up to Time Spiral, thankfully including Cold Snap, so we lose the 5 or so cards that set provided to constructed formats. While this change does deal serious financial damage to a lot of collections, nice $5 Dark Depths, nice Ravnica Shocklands, which are now in low single digits, and nice Tarmogoyf, who lost about 40% of his value in one whack. But while we are losing the ability to have fetch lands, get dual lands, and Extended, the benefits are also nice. Essentially, we get to mix it up with the most powerful standard decks of the past few years, including 5-color control, fairies, and black-white tokens rocking alongside various levels of Bant, Jund, and Planeswalker-fueled control decks. While I certainly understand the animosity from players behind such a decision, I think the benefits are obvious. To kick it off, they banned 2 incredibly annoying cards in this new format. Sword of the Meek, which makes Thopter Foundry stupidly broken and unfun to play against, and Hypergenesis, a spell that is a wee bit unfair with cascade spells and our new 15/15 Eldrazi Overlord that seems pretty good to plop down on turn 1 or turn 2 thanks to Simeon's Spirit Guide and Gemstone Caverns. Sure, you still have Living Index, but that's a much more fair combo deck, not nearly as explosive and as easily disrupted. Secondly, the format is now all new, all in flux, and all ready for the pros to do some serious damage in Amsterdam. Whereas before this change, the Pro Tour was more Dark Depths mirrors, aka shoot me in the face please, we can now look forward to some serious firepower in force across the pond, and I'm really excited for it. My guess is we'll see what the new dual land free zoo/burn decks look like, see how badass Fairy still is, and give Cedric Phillips a chance to sling Kithkin at another PT. Sweet. For me, I feel that while this change obviously rips out the value of a lot of cards, the idea of overextended being created at some point is not off the table. Legacy is currently in a state that I like to call 1998 vintage, and eventually something will have to be done. But until then, at least we now have a vibrant and interesting extended format that doesn't let all of your multi-$100 mythic rare investments be destroyed as soon as they leave standard, and just might fix the attendance and forced to play problem that the old extended format had. While the 7 years idea wasn't bad, I feel like the 4-year format will give people more peace of mind to fork down a paycheck for a playset of the hottest new thing, and ideally encourage more creative deck building and strategy as a result. My fingers are crossed. So that's another week of the show. I hope you are as enamored with time reversal as I am, and I'm curious how you feel about our new extended format and the Legacy Banlist update. Be sure to let me know in the feedback, and I'll return next week with more M11 goodness and any other big news that affects this great game of ours. Until next time, Magic players, this is Evan Irwin, tapping the cards so you don't have to.
Always like the fatties.